Welcome to the Reidsville Chamber of Commerce News and Views show. I'm your host, Diane Sawyer, and today we have with us a very special guest, Ricky Harris from First Piedmont Corporation. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for the invite.
Very excited. So you are our Director of Sales, correct?
That's correct.
And you guys have a very, very wide region that you cover, and we're going to get into all that. But I just want to hear a little bit about you first. Tell us, Ricky, where you're from, how you landed at First Piedmont, how long you've been with the company. Just tell us a little bit about you.
Okay. All right. Born in Chatham, about as far as I've ever gone, right around the Chatham area. Been with First Piedmont, Lord willing, be 40 years in June. Started out in accounts receivable.
That seems like a common place to start.
Yeah. Started out there in accounts receivable. Did that for 4 years. And First Piedmont's great about giving you opportunities if you want to grow, try something new, etc. So over the remaining years, done a variety of things. I've only been doing what I'm doing now for 2 years. The previous 30 years, I was the Director of Operations for a Danville operation as well as our location in Rustburg. So covered a lot of ground in 39 plus years, but it's been fun. It's a good place to work.
Seems like a very common practice I'm hearing in industry. It seems like people direct operations for a long time, and then suddenly, like, as they're thinking about retirement or the end of their career, they're in sales. It's very funny to me how that works. But yeah. My father's kind of in the same boat. He's been director of operations for a long time, and he was like, "Oh, there's this sales position I'm thinking about," and I'm like, "You haven't done sales since you were in your 20s, you know." But I think it's as people are kind of wanting to still work and wanting to do things, it's just a fun and different thing. So
yeah, and a slower pace.
Yes,
for me, it was a slower pace because what we were doing or what I was doing, and especially with the COVID years, it literally would just burn you out because we were like everyone else. Help was an issue, not only just finding people, but you never knew from moment to moment when you were going to get a call or a text, "I'm positive," or "a member of my family," or "you're right, I was near someone, do I come in tomorrow?" And it's 9:30 at night, and I'm trying to get in touch with HR to say, what's the latest rules? Because it was changing. Today they
Rapidly
would say, you can do this, this, and this. Well, tomorrow, it might not, this and this might not apply anymore. So, the last 2 years were rough, but I love doing it. I wouldn't have done it that long if I didn't like doing it. I love the challenge of trying to get a long list of things that needed to be done the next day and try to figure out a way to pull it off.
To do it all. Check it all off. You like that check mark? You like to check your list?
I do. I love getting things together and trying to find a way to make it work.
I think that is probably my favorite thing about this job. Every day's different, and there's always a challenge. Something's always going on.
Yep.
And you're right, the science of the pandemic. A lot of people don't know this. I talk about it often, and we haven't gotten to know each other too personally, although we'll come back to that, maybe some of our pre-camera conversations. But until today, we've been in the same space. You were able to attend our annual awards luncheon, and we were real excited to have you all there and sponsoring it. We're so thankful for that and the support that you give.
Great event.
Thank you. But the science of that's my background. I worked in Martinsville, Henry County for 7 years with the Coalition for Health and Wellness. And, I was a public health educator, and I had all that background. Those were the things, not COVID, but pandemic, global pandemic, epidemic. Those are vocabulary words that when I was in college, I never dreamed in my lifetime that we would actually experience that stuff. It was stuff you heard about, the bubonic plague, that was stuff that was history for us. Like, we're in the modern world with all these scientific advances. We'll never have that stuff.
Right.
And then it happened. And I think it blew everybody away. And so trying to be the chamber director and trying to help people navigate that as businesses and as industries and as corporations. And like you said, what are the rules today? What do we do today? And actually, I think COVID's more contagious now, if we can believe that. I think it's more contagious, less severe, more contagious, and the way it's mutated.
Yeah.
And so it's funny because people don't tell you they've been exposed, but I think, you know, we are still feeling the effects in the workforce of people being sick and people being exposed, and people still going, is this really what I want to do for the rest of my life? Life is so short. Like, we lost so many people, and it was kind of like a look around and go, oh, well, am I happy? Do I like doing this? And so it's so good to meet somebody. I mean, 40 years is a long time. That's a great career, you know, to be able to say that you worked for a company that you loved to work for, that was good to their employees, and that takes care of people. That's an amazing thing.
Yeah, and that you summed it up there, because I've had people ask, and especially nowadays, because I don't want to sound old and outdated, but you know, the generation behind us are more, I think, of I'm looking around for something. I'm working here, but they're kind of looking for that greener pasture, maybe more than my generation did. My dad and his brothers and sisters, you know, we were from the Danville, Chatham area. They got a job at Dan River Mills, which was a great employer. It was the largest employer in Danville at the time. They got a job, they liked it, and their philosophy was, if I got something I like, I'm not looking, I'm not going anywhere. So I guess I was kind of steered that way. Plus, like you said, I found something that I enjoyed. I found a company that was good to work for, that I knew cared about me, and why leave?
Right.
Why leave? So.
It's funny because you're right. I mean, both my parents have now been at their current employers for over 30 years. And you just don't see that as much anymore. You don't hear that as much anymore. But you also don't hear of companies being like First Piedmont. First Piedmont has really shown us, you know, as you said, Chatham, that's where the home base is, where the home office is. I've been there, visited, seen Bridget, and done the tour. But at the end of the day, you know, they don't just care about their employees. They care about their customers. They care about the communities that they serve, and they give back in so many ways. Tell us about your experience with that over the last 40 years, the things that you've seen them do that you just thought, man, that's awesome that our company does that.
Very active in the Boys and Girls Clubs all throughout the area. Every area that we're in, they're very active there. Anything that applies to education, kids' education, furtherment of education, definitely into that, whether it be, you know, there at Averett or DCC there locally. You know, Ben's all into education. And seeing kids being able to advance, or even employees. I mean, we have the option if we want to further our education. You know, if we see something that looks attractive, you know, they'll help us go take a class or whatever. That means a lot. Means a lot. And if you're there and you know you're somewhere where you can grow, that means so much, rather than just being in a place and you feel like you're stuck in a box. And I'm here today, and 20 years from now, I'll still be here doing the same thing over and over. It's nice to know that if you have an interest, you can do something with it.
Absolutely. And you mentioned the Boys and Girls Club. You know, here in Reidsville, we don't have a chapter or a club that really covers our area. We've got some great after-school programs with the Salvation Army and the YMCA. But as an organization, and having worked in Southern Virginia, and I know how big they are, the grant that was granted for my job, it was created, and now that nonprofit's got probably 80 employees. But the very original first year, I was a Boys and Girls Club employee, because that's who the grant was given to. And so for just a little short time, even though I wasn't technically, I was in every aspect of taxes and finances and stuff. But so I got to learn a lot about their mission and their organization. And my family, specifically my brother and I, we're from Eden, and we went to the YMCA, but all of my cousins went to the Boys and Girls Club. And so I've been able to see over the years what a great organization it is.
Yeah.
It's very affordable. They make it very, and they do work really hard to make sure that kids are going to school, kids are coming to the club, and they're getting a safe place to get help with their homework and do their homework, but also be mentored by adults and be part of things and exposed to things. And anytime a company, I think, adopts an organization like that and works as hard as First Piedmont does, I think that it's really a testament to the kind of people that founded the company. We've had people from First Piedmont on our board. We've had people, Christine was on our board for a while, and it was so great. We had such a great experience with her. And then Chad Wright's been an ambassador for us for a while. And I'd love to see that come full circle and him come back to First Piedmont as he's one who maybe found out the grass wasn't so greener on the other side.
Yeah, he will tell you that.
He will
tell you that. But yeah, it's great to have him back. It's great to have him back.
We love having him in this area. Tell us what sets First Piedmont apart, in your opinion. Tell us, well, first of all, for people who may not know, what is First Piedmont? What do you guys do?
Okay, we're a private waste hauling company, Southside Virginia, as well as in North Carolina, obviously with Rockingham, Person, and Caswell. Have a real large footprint in Virginia. We'll extend out as far west as the New River Valley, east as far as the Mecklenburg, Boynton area. Like I say, providing waste hauling services, do a little bit of hazardous waste hauling to outside facilities. Don't do as much of that as we used to, but it wasn't uncommon years to go to. If you left the area and you were in Belleville, Michigan, you might see a First Piedmont truck going by. So, but yeah, I've been in business since 1969. As you mentioned earlier, our main office there in Chatham. Our largest hauling operation is in Danville, and then we also have a location in Roanoke, Rustburg, and in Martinsville. We operate a solid non-haz waste industrial landfill just outside of Danville there in Ringgold, and then we have a transfer station in Martinsville and also in Danville.
It's a very large operation. About how many employees you think?
We're at about 100, probably 165 or 70 right now. But yeah, to sit back and think what it was way back when we first started and where it's at now, it has really grown.
It has really grown. And you know, it's funny, I live in the rural parts of Rockingham County, and I see the red truck, coming down the highway in rural Rockingham County. And I think the tagline over the years, the rely on red, it really speaks volume. You absolutely can rely on red because, we've had chamber members who used you all. I mean, there have been so many people who've just said it's been the easiest transition, or as they were starting a business, and they had a Chad coming to them and servicing them and taking care of it. Because as a new business owner, or as a business owner, period, that stuff's overwhelming.
Yeah.
And when you're trying to find vendors for things, or you need a service for something, that's not something you want to worry about. Nobody wants to worry about the waste piling up. They want to know that somebody's coming to get it, and it's going to go where it's supposed to, and that it's just another thing they can check off, right?
Yeah.
It's one of those things they can just check off and not have to worry about.
I think with us, we've tried to, I think where we've separated ourselves from the big boys, if you will, is the customer service part of it. We're local. If you make a call to our office, you're going to call Chatham. You're going to get a live voice there. You're going to get someone who's familiar with you, familiar with the area, to where, whether it be in our line of work or whatever, oftentimes when you're dealing with a major company, you dial that, what is a local number on your little card, and then it rings 4 or 5 states away, and they don't even hardly know where you're at, much less your account or being familiar with your account. So you can get lost in the shuffle real quick. And that gets frustrating. I know for me personally, when I'm making calls for something there for my home or whatever, it's no more dissatisfying than to call a number, talk to 6 people, and hang up and think, I just wasted 30 minutes of my life. I didn't get anything accomplished. So we pride ourselves on good customer service.
It matters. That just happened to me 2 weeks ago. It matters. It does. But one of my favorite, it's like the people from First Piedmont, when they come to our events, they are always so happy. They are like some of the most joyful people, and I think it's because I think it speaks to the company. Like they come with a joyful face to represent their company somewhere that they actually enjoy working, that they love being a part of. And let's be honest, like waste or trash, or Tim used to always say, and I can't go without mentioning Tim. We had Tim as an ambassador for the longest time. I loved to listen to him talk. He was loved having him. And, he used to say, well, we talk trash. And, it was the cutest thing in his accent to hear him say that. But nobody wants to talk about trash. Nobody wants to think about. But, at the same time, you do want to talk about it because you want to know that there are people who are taking care of the things in life that nobody wants to deal with. So to have somebody that's happy about it, that's willing to help you, that's taking care of all the things, just makes for a great relationship.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, that's what we strive for, to come by, sign you up, and you don't need to worry about it anymore. Mm-hmm. We come when we're supposed to. If you need something, you've got a website you can go to, you got an 800 number you can call. We're there if we need you. But you're right, if you're running a place of business, you don't need to worry about trash. You need to let us worry about that. That's what we're for. So.
Yes, unless your business is trash, and then you need to be very concerned about it.
Exactly.
Well, it's funny too, because and I say this about Tim, when Tim left for the longest time, we would hear, because there wasn't Chad yet, mm-hmm. and we would hear, where's Tim? We missed Tim so much. Where is Tim? And he was always here in his bright red shirt, and we loved having him, and you guys have made such a name for yourself. And it's just been lots of fun getting to know all the employees.
Great.
You guys also really support not just people like the Boys and Girls Club, but you're very active and support all of your chambers in your region. Mm-hmm. Talk a little bit about how important it is to you all to support the organizations that support the other businesses.
Well, I think with the chambers, they're so critical to the area. So for us to be there, be working with them, and we enjoyed the event, we came down to just 2 days ago, and a great event, by the way.
Thank you.
I was just telling Roy here earlier, new location for you.
Yeah.
I guess 175, 80,
yep,
whatever it
people.
was. But,
it was.
175, 80 people, but you didn't feel crowded.
It was perfect.
Yeah, it was, and I compliment both you and your staff for pulling that off. I'm sure you don't get that kind of an event together overnight.
No, but you know what's funny? I'll take this opportunity to say that in 2024, we have the most amazing board and ambassadors, and Chad's a big part of that. We've got these committees who are working tirelessly. One of my favorite things to tell people is I feed off of everybody else's energy. I'm very high energy, as you have seen. I'm very high emotion at this point. Actually, a longtime friend of mine was in the crowd, and she came up to me afterward and she said, I was sitting there thinking, who is this girl at the podium crying? And she said, and then I remembered that we went to the Sex and the City premiere and you and I were the only ones crying. And I was like, you are correct, we were. But I just enjoy my job so much, and I enjoy the people so much. And, the game show gala, sponsored by First Piedmont, we are so thankful for your support in that. And you guys jumped right into the name and sponsor. That event for years has been a split name and sponsor. And you guys took it all and just said, yeah, we're happy to. We'd love to. And, the game show gala idea came out of the committee. One of my board members, I was like, listen, we're right up on the event, and we haven't really figured out a game show piece. Like we've got these centerpieces, and we had figured out we were going to wear these shirts. And I said, but we're not having a game show. Like, and so somebody said, well, why don't you do trivia? And why don't you give out door prizes? And I was like, that's a really fantastic idea, because there's all that networking piece before the program starts. And I mean, it just came together. And Catherine, she is something else.
Yeah.
And I knew.
You got the right person.
Oh, yeah. Like, well, I said, well, we need an MC. And I said, well, I know who the MC is. I mean, I'm going to have to ask her. I kind of voluntold her. But, you know, she's got a personality. And she's going to take the opportunity to talk about what she does for a living. But if you got somebody who's willing to get up there for 30 to 40 minutes and do that, you absolutely allow them the opportunity. But she was amazing, and just another shining example of somebody who loves her community, who shows up. We just interviewed her, I think, on the last round. And you know, she wants to help people in their businesses and in their personal lives, in their spiritual walk. I mean, she's just a piece of all of that for people. And I love seeing her in her element. And I just thought she did.
She did great.
Such a great job.
She did great. And I don't know how you had your agenda planned out just right, but I mean, you had it to where it was right on schedule. It was, I don't know if you were over with a stopwatch or what, but it was hitting just right every segment. So don't know how you pulled it off. You need to give your secret away. So. Well,
you know, I've been here for 13 years and we've been working towards, I inherited our awards as if you know, and you've seen other chambers, most chambers have theirs as a gala in the evening. And I have 3 small children. And so I say small, gosh, y'all, all 13 in a few weeks. I'm going to have a teenager, and a 10-year-old and a 7-year-old. And when I came to the chamber, my oldest was 12 weeks old. And so over the years, having babies, I've had 2 more since I came. I just realized the value in us having a lunchtime event. Like, I inherited it that way, but it was still kind of lengthy with guest speakers and all the things. And I was like, and especially since COVID, I mean, I think people have come back to our event. We went from having about 250 pre-COVID to about 125, like that first year back, because people didn't have the ability to get out of their offices. They didn't have staff. But I think that the event and the timing of it speaks to people know, I promise I will have you out of here by 1 o'clock. And I had a board member. I have to give my past board chair, Robbie City. There's 2 events that he has always been big on. The timing has to be there, and this is one of them. And so we cut out, I said, we got to just start having fun. We're here to give away these awards. Like, let's celebrate our people. Let's have a good time. Let's have some lunch, and we will send everybody back on their way. And so I want to say, gosh, I don't know. And Roy's been a part of it for years. I'd say maybe the last 6 or 7 years we've been able to do that. He comes and sets up, records it. He had that thing already. I'm already pushing that link out. So we're thankful for Rockingham Update and what they do when they produce this show and our other things too. But sometimes it all just comes together. And it's because of the great people that we have, like First Piedmont, like our sponsors and like our ambassadors. And Chad showed up, and, you know, as a sponsor, he said, well, I want to put out, you know, something with our name on it. So I'm going to do that. But he carried in everyone. It was all a bunch of women. He carried in every heavy box, all those centerpieces. He's a true gentleman. He made sure that everything was done before he wanted to went around and did his piece. And so, you know, that's what makes this chamber so special, is the people. And how we all work together. So
you know, when I left, you were mentioning the luncheon and that was one of the first things when I got in the car and left was like, you had a little niche there that I haven't seen at any other chamber events. Like you said, they're normally dinners, you're all dressed up, and this was laid back, it was casual, it was fun. You got your mission accomplished, but it was a whole a different environment. It was really neat. It was really neat.
I will apologize for the loudspeaker at your table. I had tried to get him to move it. There was so much going on. In a new venue, his board, kind of like my stuff, we weren't quite equipped for how fancy and new the technology was there. And so we were trying to get all of that situated, and we thought we had done it pre-show, but I will say, when you say casual, It's probably the most casual I've ever been dressed for that event. I was literally wearing a t-shirt and like a yoga style work pant. And I was very comfortable. I had a great time, but I'm typically more dressed up. But we wanted to go with the theme, and I was like, we're going to do it. And I could not believe I got Miss Denise Brady. She wore a t-shirt to the Annual Awards luncheon. She put a sweater on, but and she had her I bid $1 on shirt. But I think the team, they loved it. Like we had fun with it, and my whole team contributed a part of it. And unfortunately, we were missing our administrative assistant, Katie, but she had come up with the pop culture trivia. The Taylor Swift stuff was related to her. She had, but she came up with the trivia, and she helped me convert the program. We're a little more fancy now. We're in Canva instead of Microsoft Publisher. And so everybody played a part in it. And I'm so thankful. I'm so blessed. This group, these members, our membership is about 440 right now.
Wow.
And it was around 300 when I first came. And First Piedmont's one of those that we picked up along the way. But we're super thankful for y'all. We're thankful for what you do. As somebody who just had to haul off a dumpster of things out of my basement, and we were getting ready to do so, we had actually called you guys several years ago, haven't done it yet, but it's coming in March. My grandparents are from Danville, and they still have a house on Parrott Street right off of Riverside Drive and Alpha Arnett Boulevard. And so we are going to clean it out. They passed away during COVID, and my mother has struggled. But we're gonna have that red dumpster out there, and we're gonna fill it up, and we're gonna have a emotional but a healing time doing it. And y'all get to be a part of people's lives from that personal, emotional moment all the way to businesses being successful. And I just think what you do, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, you can see both ends of the spectrum. You're right. You
Absolutely.
Sure can. Yep.
Well, I am so thankful for you. Thank you for coming on the show. I know you were probably a little bit nervous. Most people are. But we are almost out of time, and I wanted to invite you to, if there's anything else we didn't talk about the company or you personally that you'd like to say, I welcome you to do so.
Yes, thank you for the invite. Thank you for what the Chamber does. Like I said, we enjoy working with you. I know Chad, since he's the one in this area, thinks the world of all of you. So even though I hadn't met all the folks, I feel like I have, because he's always throwing out names, and they help me with this and they help me with that. So we appreciate what y'all do for First Piedmont as well.
Yeah, it's such a great partnership, and especially you guys are one of those who understand. I mean, Chad will call me and say, hey, I see there's a new business. Can you help me contact them? Or, hey, I was going to go visit so-and-so, or I'm going to be in town. And he'll pop by in the lobby, and, he'll wave, and he's in town doing his thing. But then in turn, you guys support things like our annual awards, and it's just such a cool relationship, and to see how those things work. So
Great.
Oh, well, I can't let it go by without saying I almost couldn't let you come on the show. I almost couldn't do it. But I have to be real careful, because we still have to come to Cameron. There's a game, at least one game left, at least one matchup before the season's over, and then we hit. So I do appreciate you wearing your Carolina blue shirt on, though, today.
I didn't even think about it, honestly. And why I have one of these in my wardrobe, I don't know.
That's what I want to know.
And I may not after this episode.
You may not. You may burn it just because I pointed it out. Well, I know, in all seriousness, if you can't have fun talking college basketball in North Carolina and Virginia and the ACC, I don't know what else there is to talk about.
You're right.
I tell people this is my least favorite time of the year, because it seems like there's nothing to look forward to when it comes to just being the winter and being cold, because I don't like being cold. But I take that back, because there's always college basketball.
Yeah, but after that national championship game, and you're not going to have any more games until next year. It's just kind of...
It's a letdown. It's sad.
Yeah, it's sad.
It is really sad.
So,
well, my house is divided, so it's okay that we're divided too. We can still be friends, because I still love Duke fans. I'm really not sure. I think my family's still confused about how I married one. But you know, it happens. So,
Yep.
well, anyways, so thanks for letting me have a little bit of fun.
Sure.
And thank you for being on. I'm very, very thankful for First Piedmont, and I wish you luck in, Lord willing, hitting your 40 years. And I'd love to hear about all of what you guys have accomplished at that point, because that's just that's an amazing feat. And congratulations on that.
Well, thank you, and I appreciate the invite. I've thoroughly enjoyed it.
Oh, good. Well, thank you for being with us today.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that is it for today's News and Views. As always, you can find us in the heart of downtown Reidsville at 140 South Scale Street, or online at our website, www.reidsvillechamber.org, and in any of our social media channels. We'll see you soon.